My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm an adjunct faculty member here at Penn Highlands, and I'm a liaison for the ACE program, and I'm creating this presentation for those of you who may not be able to make it here on campus to hear my presentation. At least you'll be able to view it at a later date. So I appreciate you taking time to look at it, and I hope this information is useful for you in any of the classes that you teach here. I want to start out by saying that when we think about our students, we think of all students being equal, we treat them equal, and we try to give them all equal attention. However, we have to consider learning styles. Each person is different. And a quote that I found that I really enjoyed reading is, "Students do learn best when teaching styles are matched up with their learning styles. Even if the teaching styles do not match up with the learning style, there are many ways to a better classroom experience and study experience simply by knowing our learning experiences." We've all had that good teacher, bad teacher, going all the way back to elementary and high school, where we said, I just can't learn from that person. There's just something wrong. I can't learn from them. But then we've also had the opposite. We've had that teacher that we just love because they brought material to us and we comprehended it very easily. So is that the teacher or is that the student? Well, it's actually a combination of both. Each and every person has a unique learning style. And we can learn those learning styles by taking a little examination on learning styles and actually learning what our personal learning styles are. It isn't something that we know already, that we can say, hey, I learn best by visual, or I learn best by hearing it, or I'm a tactile learner where I've got to get my hands in there and I've got to do it. It's all dependent upon answering about 20 questions that will guide us in that proper way. So learning style is an individual's natural or habitual pattern of acquiring and processing information in learning situations. A core concept is that the individuals differ in how they learn. The idea of individualized learning styles originated in the 1970s has greatly influenced education. In fact, I went back to my alma mater, Duquesne University, and did a little research on something that they put out on discovering your learning style. An obstacle to effective teaching and learning can arise when students and instructors fail to recognize different learning styles. People learn in different ways. And the quotation, "There are many roads to learning. Brilliant students in the seminar room may be all thumbs in the lab or studio," according to Chickering and Gamson, 1991. So being able to put something in our classes that we can address the different learning styles. Vanderbilt University also has put out some very, very good information on learning styles. And of course, they use something called the VARK, V-A-R-K, learning styles. VARK learning styles were discovered in 1987 by a gentleman by the name of Neil Fleming. And Mr. Fleming, in his model, referred to the learning styles where learners are identified whether they have a preference for visual, and that could be pictures, movies, and diagrams; auditory learning, where music, discussion, and lectures; or reading and writing, making lists, reading textbook, taking notes. So the VARK system is one of the most used today. There's also the Kolb's learning style. His is a little different. His was done quite a number of years later. It was done in 1984. And he believed that our individual learning styles emerge due to our current genetics, our life experience, and the demands of our current environment. In addition to describing what he called 4 learning styles, he also developed a theory of experimental learning and a learning style inventory. That inventory is present today. The University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth, they've come up with the individual learning style and then characteristics that go with it. So just trying to relate to that information. We all have a way in which we best learn. Odds are Every student in your class has a different preferred learning style, which can make it difficult for you to be the most effective teacher. However, by trying to incorporate various methods into your teaching, you may be able to reach most of your students. At the college level, it is expected that students have an idea of how to adapt to most teachers, although it cannot hurt to help them a little, as we all know. So let's just talk real quickly about the different types of learning styles. And the first one I want to talk about is visual. Visual learning is a style in which a learner uses graphs, charts, maps, and diagrams. It is one of the three basic learning styles in the Fleming model, and also includes kinesthetic and auditory learning. So visual learners will see our students more often sit in front of the classroom. They try to visualize things in their minds as we're giving a lecture or whatever learning style we're using. They try and relate it back to their own learning style, and they write down keywords or notes. The second one, auditory learning, is learning a style in which a person learns through listening. An auditory learner depends on listening and speaking as a main way of learning. And we might notice in those students where they sit where they can hear. They're not going to sit clear in the back of the room where they have difficulty hearing. They may sit closer to the front. They read stories, assignments, or directions out loud so that they can hear it. They might have test questions read to them so that they have the ability to understand them more clearly. A tactile learner, and I just happen to be a tactile learner, I learn by touching and doing. I understand and remember things through physical movement. I am a hands-on learner who prefers to touch, move, build, or draw what I learn, and I tend to learn better when some physical activity is involved. So, three characteristics of someone like me: we participate in activities involve touching, building, moving, and drawing. It's okay in our minds to chew gum, walk around, or rock in a chair while reading or studying. And I might add, my wife is not a tactile learner, so when I do those things, it drives her crazy. So I have to remember we have different learning styles, so I need to, when I'm doing my thing, I'm not doing it in her area. I use a computer to reinforce learning through the sense of touch. So those are basically the three learning styles. So how do we know what our students are if we don't test them? Well, we may not have time in a given class to do those types of things. So we have to cover all three fields in how we bring about our classroom. We can do it a number of different ways. We can do it through lecture. We can do it through PowerPoint lecture. We can do it through hands-on. We can do it with group hands-on. We can do it through student networking. And we can do it by using the blackboard or whiteboard. Something that I do in all of my classes, if the class meets twice a week, or if it's a longer class, I divide it in half. The first part of the class, I do my lecture. And my lecture is both spoken lecture as well as PowerPoints. I use PowerPoints, I use videos. So I'm getting to the visual learner, I'm getting to the auditory learner. Now all I have to do is cover that tactile, and I do that in group assignments where I'll divide the class up in groups and have them work on the computer and have them actually do specific assignments that I give them as a group so that they actually are physically involved in it. So those are how we accomplish covering all three types of learning styles. If you have any more questions or concerns, or you have ideas for me, please don't hesitate to contact me at Meyer, that's CMEYER, at pennhighlands.edu, or you can call my cell phone at 814-442-0923. And thank you very much for taking time to look over my presentation, and I definitely would appreciate your feedback. Thank you.